Hello everybody. Just going to build some characters and mess around with some of the new assets that come with the Rime of the Frost Maiden. I've already built a few characters on here. So I have the Ice Sorceress, which is a human variant, a Ranger Snow Elf, and a Goliath Druid. And now I am finishing up a Dwarven Barbarian, which actually is a Battle Rager. And I'm going to say that he comes from the same clan as the Battlehammers. So he's related to them. So right now I'm going to go over the skills, and the stats are all ready to go. It's a 5th level Barbarian. So he has the Battle Rager path. So they get spiked dwarves, and they're rarely niche, but they're pretty cool. They have a lot of cool different features. So right now I'm at 5th level. He gets 2 attacks now. So that should make him pretty deadly. Stats are really well distributed, and he rolled very high. So he has a 19 strength, a 19 con, a 15 wisdom, and a 15 dexterity, and a 14 charisma. So he's got quite a bit of spunk to him for being such a small little dwarven dude. So I already have a majority of this built. So what I'm going to do is continue on with this build. And right now I've looked at his abilities. He has his tool proficiency that I'm going to choose. So the one that comes with his background is Mason's tools. So I'm going to let him pick Smith's tools instead, or maybe Brewer's supplies, to be proficient. So I'm going to add those to the skills area. So if I click on the edit button and click on this plus button a couple times, I get a couple new entries. So I'm going to add his tool proficiencies. I'm going to base them both on wisdom. Although you could argue they could be based on a number of different stats. Alright, so Smith tools and Mason's tools. And then in his inventory, I want to make sure. So he has Mason's tools, but he's not carrying around any Smith tools, so let me check that out. There we go. And now that he has his equipment, I'm going to organize it. So I'm doing that by typing the name of the container that I want next to each item. So I'm going to store the bedroll in the backpack. The only thing you do not do this with is your weapons and your armor and shield. Everything else can be stored or placed somewhere. He's got a miner's pick as well. And once you have it organized, it'll reshuffle. So he has spiked armor. He has a shield. It's like a spiked one. A punch dagger. So he has like a mailed glove with a fist on it and like brass knuckles. And then he has his great axe and a couple hand axes that he can chop with or throw. So he's got a pretty nice little arsenal here of weaponry. So I'm going to go ahead and call that done. He has his items here. So I'm going to add his rations. And his water skin. Now when I go to preparation mode, I can set these up as instead of daily, theirs would be one-time use. But we don't want the lamp here. But we do want the oil, the torch, rations, water skin. So now these are all set to 1. So he's got his light sources, his food, water, and rations. That's food. Okay, so he's pretty good there. He has Dwarven Resilience and Stone Cunning. And these are his Barbarian abilities. And I believe in his Rage, there's a table that he has to look at. So I'm going to go look at his class table. So the class that he has is a Barbarian. And if you go down this table here, it'll tell you how many times he can rage at his level. So he's 5th level. So he gets 3 rages. And he has an extra attack and fast movement. So fast movement implies that. So I want to see what that says. Right now his speed is 25. So let's see. So fast movement. At this rate, your speed increases by 10 while you're not wearing heavy armor. Well, I'm pretty sure his Battle Rager armor is heavy. So that kind of cancels that out. So let me see what it says. Yeah, so that spiked armor is heavy, basically. Because that's what he has. So that cancels that out. But he has... Yes, well, it's medium armor. So he should actually get that. So let me reread that. So it says fast movement. Yeah, so he's not wearing heavy armor. So what I'm going to do is go into his setup here under his combat calculator. And I'm going to add 10 to his base speed. So now it's 35. And that's a feature that he gets for being 5th level. And a barbarian. Let's see. Primal Path. Reckless. Unarmed Defense. Danger Sense. That's already on here. So he gets 3 rages. And now when I'm in here, in combat and actions, he actually has 3 usages here, and then the usages for his items down here. And then his abilities that goes with his class and his race. So I think under abilities, he has Common, Dwarvish, yep. Tool Proficiency, we've done that. Stone Cunning's there. Combat Training, he doesn't need that because he's already a warrior type. He can use pretty much, he can use light and medium armor. Bound by the Dark. So he's a miner, spends a lot of time underground. You usually find allies within a group of fellow miners. So it kind of helps when he deals with people that are miners. And then Path of the Battle Rager gives him this Battle Rager armor, which actually gives him a bonus attack, and if he hits, he can deal an additional D4 damage, and then he can also use a strength modifier to amplify that damage. So it's like he gains a bonus action with this armor, and that's what this represents. So you have the cast button, you have the 1d4 piercing, and then you just have the regular piercing for when it, like when he punches or he grabs. The one's like a strength bonus, and then one is for like when he just like is grappled. And then you have danger sense, you have your barbarian rage. So I think I put that on the wrong thing. Yeah, I did. So this is supposed to be 0, and the barbarian rage is ×3. There we go. He's pretty much good to go. I don't have his full background. So he's kind of crazy. Then I have to set up his notes. So he's almost done. All right. So I'm going to check out his background. So as a miner, let's see what he gets. So his personality traits. Driven at the thrill of discovery, there must be something good in these mountains. I like it. It's ideal. Greed. Good. It's a worker's responsibility to ensure the safety and happiness of the team. That's fine. Minor bond. Nothing is more important to me than the other miners. I could see that. And his flaws. I tend to pocket items of small value when no one else is looking. I think I'm less of anyone hesitant to go into places with little light. Huh. I see. I'm constantly on alert for danger encroaching from the darkness. I like it. So he's a little gun shy. Cool. Alright, so he's pretty much a done deal. Just want to save him. Save the campaign, in other words. And he's ready to go. So I have 4 characters now that are ready to go for the new setting. So for the Icewind Dale map, I think this guy is from, he's from the valley, so the Dwarven Valley. This Ice Sorceress is from way out yonder. Same with the Snow Elf. They don't know where he came from, but it's somewhere from the east. Probably on the other side of the glacier. And then the Goliath Barbarian is from one of these Goliath settlements. So that's basically where they come from. And I'm going to have one, probably a bard that's trying to make his way in 10 towns. Like he travels from each town to perform. And then I might make one other character. So I think the next character I build will be a kind of a bard type, because we have a spellcaster, but I kind of want to have a bard for more utility. and then one other character type, and I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be. It could be a wizard, might be a some new thing to make up. I'm not sure, but I already have a druid, so that's pretty much our healing. And then we have a ranger that has a little bit of healing too. So I think we're good on healing. And then we have some snow magic, basically. And for this battle rager, I have a perfect token. So I'm going to go in my asset, and I'm already in the tokens group. So these are a bunch of tokens that I could potentially use, but a lot of these are human, they're not dwarven, but they would work. So I'm going to use Bernardo's here, and I know he has a battle rager in here. Yep, right here. Spiked armor and all. So I just dragged this over and dropped it into the token area. So now, let's put him on the combat tracker. And then I want to go to actions, enable his resistance, because that's a dwarven feature. And it looks like everyone else is in good shape. So that's that. And then I want to take a look at a battle map. Let's see. Going to all and maps and images. And here's this map, which is kind of big, but would really show the party really well. Let's see, what do we got? Oh yeah, here's outside the tavern. So they're probably in one of the main towns and 10 towns. So I'm going to go ahead and drag them over here. So the entrance is probably in here somewhere. So there's the party. So they look pretty good. Let the snow in the background. So I'm going to recenter the map. I've had questions where people says, well, how do I get rid of this gray area? Well, I don't think you really can, but what you can do is size the frame to where it actually fits. And then you would go ahead and hit zoom to fit. When you click on zoom to fit, it actually makes the map form to whatever size you have. So that's that. Hey, how's it going, Brendan? Yeah, I'm just kind of fiddling around with the... Just fiddling around. Checking out some kind of crazy Icewind Dale themed stuff. I want to put an adversary on here for them to fight. Let's do a little fight here. It looks like I have I don't know what this is, a chest here or something, and some... Yeah, we're going to have an outside the bar fight. So let me find something that's going to be worth it. Something that has a little bit of spunk to it that's not going to die out in the first round. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with Let me fix this. There we go. So I think I'm going to make an encounter. Oh, here's some legacy of the shard encounters. I might just use this. Okay, Bear Tribe Camp Hero. So there's a chief and a couple of his guard. Chief doesn't look too badass. I mean, he's, you know, pretty average. Maybe I'll use them. So I will just pin that there. And I'm going to place them on the battle map. So the chief is over here. And his buddies are kind of hanging out with him. They come around the corner and they see the party members leaving the tavern, and they start yelling at him and insulting him. So I close that. So these guys come outside, and they hear the barbarians get closer. So I'm going to allow them to. First, I'm going to reset everything. So I'm going to go to rest, short rest, and this is what I do to test the characters out to make sure that they're right. And then I'm going to go with a long rest just in case. So everything's reset. Clear that. And now I'm going to have them roll initiative. So I'm just going to roll for everything. And I'm going to put the bad guys on the map too. So they're on here. They're just not visible yet. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the visibility. So now they're all visible. Now we're just going to roll initiative. So I'm going to roll for everything. Okay. So it looks like the ranger goes first. So instead of attacking, he's going to move over here. He's going to pull out his bow. And he states that he's going to call out to him and say, hey, we're not rowdy. We're leaving. We're not trying to cause any problems. But he's going to hold his action. So he elects to ready, and he's going to ready his longbow. And if anyone comes within his group members close enough, or they look hostile, he's going to shoot them. So that's his turn. So he hasn't done anything other than warn them, hey, we're not trying to cause trouble. So he passes his turn. The human war chief moves up, and he points at the party members, and he tells his lackeys to go after him. So as soon as he does that, the ranger targets the war chief. So I do that by holding down the right control key, and now I have him targeted. So when I move, I have the war chief targeting the war chief. That's not what I want. So you need to make sure that you click on your token first, then you hold down the right control key and click on your target. Now it shows that the war chief is targeted. And he went ahead and, so he's in range. It's only 40 feet away. So he draws back his bow, and he has asked if he could put a hunter's mark on this guy, on the war chief. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. It's a bonus action, but it also takes a first level spell slot, so we're going to check that off. And I'm going to cast this hunter's mark. Is going to be on the ranger. And then the effect itself, if type custom hunter's mark, then you get damage of 1d6. So that's actually going to the ranger. And when he damages this guy that has the if type of hunter's mark on him, which he does, it will grant him an additional d6 of damage. So once that happens, then I can roll and apply my hunter's mark damage. So it will do it automatically if I hit him and roll damage. So let's see if I hit him first. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on the bow. And that buries itself into the chief, into his shoulder. So now I'm going to just double click on the damage. And if I did the spell correctly, the bonus action, it should add the additional D6 according to this. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to double click on this damage. And yes, it added the new damage, the correct damage. So if I attack one of these other guys, it should not, because they are not marked with Hunter's Mark. So he did 14 points of damage with the arrow, and the chief roars in anger and pulls out his weapon. So he basically takes out his long sword, and being that he's a commander, friendly creatures that are discipline action and can see or hear the war chief within 30 feet get a +2 to their damage rolls. If multiple creatures, then only the highest bonus applies. So what happens is when they attack, they get a +2 on damage. He told them to go do their thing, and he's rushing forward. So he's got enough room to move up to here. And he is going to use his longsword. He gets 2 attacks. So his first swipe goes into the ranger. The ranger feels the bite of his blade, and he kind of winces at the pain. It hurts really bad. So that blade slashes across his gut, and the snow elf was able to make his concentration check. So he didn't lose his hunter's mark, which is good, because that would have canceled out that extra damage. And now the war chief is going to attack the Goliath druid. So again, he swings his blade across. And he rolls very well, and his blade also bites. So instead of dragging it to here, I just drag it to the combat tracker. Oh, well, that guy's lethal. So he's tore up both of these guys with his longsword. So now the Goliath's turn. He realizes this guy is a threat. So what he's going to do is consider his options. So he has a reaction called Stone's Endurance. So I'm going to use that. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that yet. Okay, Stone's Endurance. So he could heal himself as a reaction. So that basically soaked up most of the damage he took from that blade. Now I can check it off. And he is going to cast a spell to basically either push him back, or maybe he will cast Cure Wounds on his ally, the Snow Elf. So I have to think of something that's going to really help. Maybe Entangle at this point. Because if he casts Entangle, it'll slow down everybody. So I think that's what he's going to do. So here's Entangle. It is a concentration spell. So I need to mark that as concentration. And then I'm going to find the area of effect. So if you look at the spell, Entangle, it's 90 feet, but it makes a 20-foot cube from a pointed area within range. So within 90 feet, he can set up a cube. So he's going to set it up right here in front of his party. But the only thing is that kind of limits the Battle Rager. He might set it up right in here. So what he's going to do is point at the ground and say his prayer or his chant. So I'm going to right-click on the map, click pointers, and I'm going to draw a square. And that's where the entanglement is in this area. So the war chief will have to make a save or become entangled. So on the Goliath sheet here, for the actual entanglement, there are different effects here and a saving throw. And then the actual, here's the save for... Okay, here's the save versus DC 15 for strength. Okay, so that's the spell token. Okay. So what I'm going to do is drag and drop this on the war chief. And the war chief was successful. As a matter of fact, it didn't affect him at all. So because he rolled so high, he had a critical success, I'm going to move him an extra 5 feet forward. And that's because he basically got out of that as soon as he sensed it. So he moved beyond his normal movement rate, sort of. I mean, he was still within range, but he was able to get out of the area of effect. So that was a good save on his part. However, the rest of the group will have to save if they pass through there. So all the druid's trying to do is slow these guys down and buy them some time. But obviously it didn't work with this guy. So that's the end of the Goliath's turn. And as a matter of fact, he's going to move diagonally here, so he has a little bit of cover. So in case these guys have missile weapons, he's not going to be targeted as easily. And that's the end of his turn. All right. The Battle Rager, I don't know if he's going to... He hasn't raged yet, so I think he has enough calm in him to realize that he can't walk through here. So I'm going to have him move here. And he can move 35, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 right there. Just picked up Icewind Dale and Fantasy Ground Mod. Can't wait to get this one started. Yeah, hey, cool. Hey, Colair, what's going on, buddy? All right, so that is basically what's happening. So I have a spell effect going on here, and this is Entangle. And the Barbarian has just moved into position. And he's getting ready to kick some butt. So he is basically, he has his battle armor on. And he is going to raid. So I'm going to go ahead and put on his Barbarian Rage effect. And he's swinging his Great Axe. It's two-handed. No, he's going to actually use his... Yeah, it's two-handed, so I have to basically make an effect to remove his shield bonus. But for right now, I'm just going to unequip it. That way I don't get the shield bonus. Now I'm going to swing the Barbarian, or his Battle Rager Great Axe. And he rolled really well. And now his Great Axe bites down on this Barbarian dude. Like a bear tribe warrior. Ooh, ouch. Heavy damage. So the Barbarian is kicking butt. The Dwarven Barbarian. He's a Battle Rager. And he wants to stay there and tough it out. So that's his turn. So this guy, he knows that his goose is cooked. So he's going to move this way and this way. That's 10 feet. 15, 20. And he's going to group up on this guy since he got a big attack on him. And he has reckless attack as well. So he's just going to make a reckless attack, which is whenever he makes a melee attack, he can do so with advantage on the attack roll. Doing so, however, grants advantage on their target's rolls against the warrior. So if this guy attacks him, he'll have a better chance. But he's going to click advantage, and he's going to use his long straight sword. And he missed, so the dwarf was able to duck underneath his swing. How anticlimactic. Okay, sorceress. So she's assessing the battle. And she sees that the attackers are pretty nasty. So she's going to deal with the immediate threat, which is the human war chief. And on her sheet, she has a lot of snow-based spells. And then she has this really cool quarterstaff. So one of the things that she has as her special ability is she has this winter birthright. So she can resist cold. And she's immune to cold. And she has the ability to ignore any frost-based cold or anything to do with slowing her down or anything like that. So she has that. And then she has this winter birthright where if she casts this spell, she gets to do extra damage on her enemy. So anything that is snow-based, she gets to add her spell attack bonus in place of an athletics check. So what I'm going to do is her spell attack bonus is 3 plus her proficiency bonus of 6. So when she makes an attack roll and does damage, she does an extra 6. So I can just put a modifier in here if she hits first. So what she's going to do now is she is going to cast let's see, what is this? Frostbite. And it does a d6 of cold. And if he is frostbitten, he'll have disadvantage because of the nature of it, because his hands and skin will be frostbitten. So first I have to roll the saving throw. And he saved. So the frostbite didn't really do anything, but he feels the cold. And it says on a failed save, he takes damage and has disadvantage. If he makes the save, though, it doesn't do anything. So she casts the spell, and the frostbite, which was a cantrip, failed. So now she's going to move back here, just so she's not as close. And I'm going to have her prepare another spell. So that her thing is if, she's going to be kind of have to be picky and choosy at what she does and be careful with it. So that's her turn. Okay, so the bear warrior that's fighting the barbarian, he is also going to take a reckless attack against the dwarven barbarian. So I click advantage, and then I'm going to take his greatsword and swing it just like his partner did. And even with advantage, he missed. He rolled very poorly. So again, the dwarf kind of moves out of the way. So that's basically his turn unless he wants to move. So I think he's staying there. He's wounded too, so. All right. So now it's the ranger. So the ranger still has the hunter's mark. So the ranger has a double-headed spear. And what it does is allows you to switch sides without having to flip it over. And that's in case you're fighting in a tunnel and you have to go from one side to the other. So what he's doing is he's taking two hands now, and he put his bow away, and he's just going to jab it into the guy. And he still has Hunter's Mark. So I'm just going to do a melee attack with this spear. And he just barely missed him. The war chief was very cunning and tricked him and caused him to lunge forward and overextend himself. So that takes care of his turn, basically, unless he wants to move, or if he has a bonus action, well, he can't because he's already got Hunter's Mark. So he's pretty much stuck right there toe-to-toe with the war chief. Human war chief, again, commands his friends to assist him, and he has a multi-attack, so he's going to attack both targets. This time he's going to attack the Goliath first with his long blade. And he connects. Ouch. Luckily, the Goliath Druid made his save, but he took quite a bit of damage. So the Goliath Druid is back to 10 wounds. And now he's going to attack the Ranger. So the long blade. Ooh. So luckily the Ranger was able to kind of dash aside or knock it back with his spear. So that was a lucky break. Alright, so the Goliath, being that he already has a concentration spell, he is basically going to try to cast Hold Person. So it's verbal somatic, one action. He's going to cast it on the War Chief. So Hold Person, come on, buddy. Ah, the War Chief failed. So now the Hold Person goes to himself, but it's a concentration spell. So this effect of this spell over here goes away. So he can no longer maintain the Entangle spell. So I need to remove the concentration for that. And I need to remove the pointer. Or the area effect. So that spell is gone. Now he has the War Chief held. So now I'm going to apply the paralysis. And that should be it. Hold Person paralyzed, saved, and wisdom. Okay. So I did that. He can hold Person at the end of his round. So that's that. So that takes care of that. So the Goliath is happily going to move aside. So he won't get a attack of opportunity because this guy is paralyzed. Dwarven Barbarian. Okay. So he is going to continue his raging onslaught. And he is able to basically slam his big axe into this bear tribe warrior. And he is going to go ahead and roll damage. And he did 8 points of damage to that guy, so he's hurting. So when you choose this path, okay, while you're wearing it, you can make a bonus action to make one melee weapon with your armor spikes. Okay, so he is going to do that. So he's making a melee attack as a bonus action. in which it didn't help. So the barbarian was able to avoid his armor spikes. So that's basically the end of the dwarf's turn. Now the other warrior type is going to do the same thing, although a lot less reckless. So I'm going to have him just roll. And he missed. So that took care of his turn. He is going to yell to his ally that, you know, we need to take this guy down. So now the sorceress can see the battlefield a little better. She's not as tied up with the war chief. So she's going to try to do something to help out the battle rager this round. So again, I think frostbite, and I'm going to cast it on this guy here. It's 60-foot range. So she has him targeted. Okay. So she has him targeted. And I'm going to cast frostbite. He failed his save. So now she gets to attach this to it. But then she also gets her winter birthright. So that was a +6. So I just manually typed 6 in the modifier box. And now I'm going to roll the frostbite damage. That way, holy cow. So it started off as frostbite and then it just grew and got worse. So this guy is dying now. So she just kind of basically froze him into a cube, or at least his limbs. And he kind of just freezes, he pauses. So she used her cantrip and then her special ice sorceress ability, which gives her a +6 on cold damage. So he's basically frozen, and he's basically considered dead. So I just removed him off the combat tracker, and I think I'm going to move her up here, and she's going to keep an eye on the battle from this position. Make sure no one else joins, so that's her turn. Okay, he did not like what he saw. It kind of spooked him out. So he is going to try to run. Well, if he runs, he gets attack of opportunity against him. So I have to decide if he's going to run or not. So I'm just going to roll his wisdom. If he passes his wisdom check or save, then he'll stay. And he saved. So he didn't chicken out. He's going to stick it around and stick it out. So he's going to attack the Dwarven Barbarian with his greatsword again. He will use Reckless Abandonment or whatever, the Reckless Attack. So he gets advantage on the attack. And ooh, he missed. Even with all that, the dwarf has really good armor class, so that's why. Wow. Okay. The Snow Elf Ranger is thinking about either tying this guy up or finishing him off. So I think he wants to finish him off. He's Hunter's Mark. Guy's at disadvantage already. He's paralyzed. So there should be no reason to not hit him. So again, I'm going to use his spear. And he hit of course he hit him. And then I'm going to add the damage. And it did apply the extra Hunter's Mark. And I think, if I remember right, if you attack him, he's no longer paralyzed. So let me look at that. So we're about to find out. See, paralysis. Old person, excuse me. Yeah, it's just concentration. Doesn't give a whole lot of description there, does it? Okay, that's heat metal. Yeah, so it's an enchantment. I think it removes the paralysis. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that effect from him. Just once you attack them. Okay, so that's basically the war chief is free to attack. So again, he commands his hero to help him. Says, "Get over here, help me." He doesn't realize the guys are almost down, and takes 2 sword swipes at the snow elf since he's right next to him. Ouch. Okay, the snow elf made his concentration check, but he took a nasty hit. And this second attack missed, thank God. So the snow elf is hurt and half his hit points are gone. So that's the war chief's turn. Actually, he's going to move here and still be engaged. All right, Goliath Druid is going to... Let's see, what does he want to do? I think he will move over to here. He's going to cast Cure Wounds on the Ranger. Which is helpful. And then he's going to prepare himself to engage the war chief hand to hand if he needs to. So that was his turn. He moved, he did his healing, and he said, "I'm here to help you." So that was his turn. And that was a first level spell. So that's expended now. And he also did Hold Person, which was a second level spell. So far, the characters are holding up kind of well. We're Barbarian. All right, he's had it with this guy. So he's like, "Go down." So he takes his, this case, he's going to take his great axe and probably go low. And he's able to connect, so he chops it lower at this guy's legs. And wow, so he took that guy out. So he just basically maimed that guy, just knocked him right off his feet, and cut his legs off at the knees. The guy falls down, he's bleeding, there's blood all over the snow. So the barbarian is still in a rage. So he moves over to the chief, and that's his turn. Sorceress, since her plan worked last time, she's going to do the same thing. She did not use her 3rd level spell slots. Okay. So I think she's just going to use Frostbite again and try her best. Yeah. Let's see what happened here. Oh, he saved. So the war chief did not take any damage from that. So she's going to move back here and think of a new strategy. She doesn't really have too many bonus actions, so I think she's just going to think about what she just did there and contemplate it. Make sure no one else joins the battle, too. Okay, Ranger, you're getting pretty deep into this fight. You still have Hunter's Mark. I think you should just carry on the fight. So he is going to do so. His double-headed spear. Going to try to go into the chieftain's side. And he misses. Well, he gets another attack because he's actually 5th level. So he's going to try again. This time he was successful, so he wasn't faked out. So now, the damage. Wow. So the chieftain is now defeated. So I'm going to go down the list here. So the Goliath is going to once again heal the Ranger. That takes a spell slot. The Dwarven Barbarian, it takes him around to calm down. So I will remove his rage. And the Goliath's effect. And then the Sorceress is cool. She's going to walk over and take a look at the combatants and the enemies and see what they're all about. And she points to the bodies and points to her head, which she does sign language, kind of doesn't talk very well. And she's letting them know that she's seen these guys before, or this type of people before. So that's her turn. So basically that was a combat round. Took about a little less than an hour to do that. So I'm going to hit menu, click rest, and we're going to do a short rest. And anybody that needs hit die recovery, such as the Goliath Druid, can do so. So on his sheet, under the main tab, I'm going to roll his hit die. And he healed 4 points of damage. So there we go. So it seems like characters are working pretty good. I think that's where I'm going to cut this off. So anybody around that has questions, hello, how are you? Argentina, que llegamos a Fantasy Grounds. Hola. Do you speak Spanish or Portuguese? Español y Portuguese. Hola. ¿Sabes hablar en inglés? Me habla español un poco. Ah, okay. Good. Are you in Fantasy Grounds College? I was using Fantasy Grounds Dungeons and Dragons, and the rule set was 5th edition. Okay.